Hi. Long time no crab. I'm way too far over right now. Hello. How goes it? I'm feeling better than I was. Welcome. I put together a little team for today because I want to use some characters that I like never use. I have so many characters, and so many of them are benched constantly. So I don't know. I'll give this a little crab. I'll give this a little try. Damn it, Marceline! I saw your long crab no see chat, and it made me say. Hi, how goes it, everyone? What goes on? We have some artifact lore to read. I do actually have the recommendation on the order in which to read Celestial Gift and excuse me. Oh my goodness. Hello, Discord. There we go. Hello. There we go. Jeez. Disenchantment and Deep Shadow, and a Celestial Gift. Brief History of the Pale Starborn as well. Celestial Gift, Disenchantment. Vera's Melancholy, very long but good read. Okay. Ooh, pulled up a Menacing in Stygian and cleared Theater. Full Vera, before Celestial. Would you guys be cool if I read that off stream, and then uploaded it as a separate video, maybe? If it's super long. I guess we could. We'll do artifacts, and then I just wanna wander around. There's a bunch of things in the world. Plenty of primos sitting around in the world to grab. Plenty of primos sitting around in the world to grab. So for right now. What the why? Anyways. Don't freeze, Genshin, you crazy. Let's read War and Peace. Why are you frozen? Hello? Just give it a sec. It does this. How many squirrels are there on the screen? How many squirrels on there? What the fuck, Genshin? Hang on. Skirk is skirking on stream? What? Oh my word, what just happened? But it doesn't when I switch scene. Like, I guess that is usually what the trigger is, but not every time, anyways. I have Lanyard, Toma, Xiangling, and Rosaria here. Don't even remotely ask me why I chose these. Oh, right. I do need to get a full set once again. My Chevreuse is almost at 40,000, but she's on Severed Fate, which makes, you know, all the sense. At least it means when I swap it over to Toma, I can get him up to 30,000, and then with the Star Glitter, he's at 215 for ER. Before we get into that, I would actually like to bring our own music in. Usually when we're reading lore, we turn on the Anka music. However, how about this? Why is it in the middle of a soundtrack? I choked to death. casual things. Oh, not books, fartifacts. Not that either. Equipment. I want to start with disenchantment. Okay. That is flower, sands, goblet, plume, circlet. Okay, cool. Iridescence that ceased amidst glory. It was a flower made of silk, gifted to her. It was a flower made of silk, gifted to her by a friend whose hands were as cold as ice. These days, few visitors seek out the mountain manor held by the most preeminent of the Snegovic. Though it is said that in ages past, many a noble lord would arrive bearing gold-etched invitations to feast within its walls. The silver-haired maiden was once among them, though in those days she had yet to become a mage in the shadows, nor had she knocked upon any gates concealing secrets. She was merely a court attendant following the Emperor of the North. The idle talk with the Fae was always oh so stale and wearying. Moreover, being human, the maiden drew too many gazes from those who were not of her kind, and so she quietly slipped away from the banquet hall. Unfortunately, the interior of this 1,000-year-old structure was a veritable maze, and by the time the girl, intent only on going upward, realized her mistake, the way back was lost. To return, she would have to navigate a tangle of winding halls and endless stairs, as the moonlight played one trick after another through the windows. But within its uninhabited silence, the maiden finally found a peace that had long eluded her. It was not until... Music a little bit loud? Okay. Oh my gosh! I was thinking about that as I was reading. Thank you. Within this uninhabited silence, the maiden finally found a peace that long eluded her. It was not until the master of the banquet, the princess of the Snegorochka, appeared behind her. Master of the banquet, princess of Snegorochka, appeared behind her, that she realized the mistress of all frost and ice had also long since grown tired of her guests' cliches and banalities. Thus, the two had already turned their backs on the banquet. And so the mistress showed the maiden the paintings, sculptures, and puzzles hidden away in the manor, and the silver-haired maiden met them with a wit and acuity that had already set her apart. Finally, as their talk drew to a close, the princess of Snegorochka revealed the deft craft of the Fae, an entire courtyard shaped from ice that never melts, with towers rising like pillars of salt and trees that swayed without a palpable breeze, along with pale grass, frost flowers, rabbits, and even an imposing moose. Everything... Oh, don't make me kill moose in Snezhna. Everything unfolded at their feet, like a dream suddenly spilling from beside a sleeper's pillow. As though she caught the longing in the maiden's eyes, the princess of Snegorochka offered up a cautionary word. Even the ice that never melts is but a creation of magic, and thus it cannot truly endure. What you see is but fleeting light and shadow, engraved in the blood of those who were once enslaved. Yet the servants of yore may still perform such wondrous tricks, while the humans who once were their masters can no longer reclaim their former glory. At their parting, the Snegorochka princess fashioned for her a flower from silk. Unlike the unmelted ice, while the vibrant hues of silk might fade, its substance would endure much longer. As she watched the Snegorochka pin the silken gift to her chest with her long, slender fingers, the maiden said with a smile, "I thought you were once only artful in how you wield power to shape all things from ice and snow." Axinia, the princess of Snegorochka replied, "It is never the craft that is artful, but the heart. This is proof of our friendship. From now on, no matter when, I shall be delighted to receive you here." Interesting. The mountain manor held by the most preeminent of the Snegovic. Gold-etched invitations to feast within its walls. So, the palace. The same palace as is in current, correct? Oh, my blade? It pierces my victims' hearts. Zapoyarni. Correct. Plan for the day? Silver-haired maiden, though in those days she had yet to become a mage in the shadows. The silver-haired maiden. I mean, this was... The silver-haired maiden was once among them. Our silver-haired maiden is the currently the current Cryo Archon, the Tsaritsa? Or am I misreading that? Become a mage in the shadows, though. When she knocked upon any gates concealing secrets. She was merely a court attendant following the Emperor of the North, the original Tsar, perhaps? So maybe not the Tsaritsa? Being human, the maiden drew too many gazes. 1,000-year-old structure as well. In the unless this is a quote-unquote 1,000-year-old structure, as in saying like it's, as in just saying, hey, it's old. But if it's a literal 1,000-year-old structure, then it's relatively it's a relatively new building in comparison to a lot of other things. There's unified civilization ruins all over the place. There's things like the ruins in Liyue where the original Gwejon Ballista was. That was during the Archon War. That was 2,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago, something like that. So if it's only 1,000 years old, that's one of the more recent of the ancient structures. It's still not new. It's not the Jade Chamber, but relatively recent, if that's Zapolyarny Palace. The Princess of the Snegorochka appeared behind her. The mistress of all frost and ice. Oh. So maybe our Silverhead Maiden is not who I think she is. The mistress of all frost and ice had also long since grown tired of her guests' cliches and banalities. It was a flower made of silk gifted to her by a friend whose hands were as cold as ice, willing to sacrifice. Okay, next one is Sans. It was a fleeting moment she gave a certain silent alchemist to remind him of every item on his schedule. It was a time before the Tsaritsa, who now rules Snezhnaya, had ascended the throne of Zapolyarny Palace. It was a time before the Tsaritsa, who now rules Snezhnaya, had ascended the throne in Zapolyarny Palace. A time when the land of ice and snow had not yet, due to the Harbingers, forbidden all practice of the art of alchemy. Snezhnaya has forbidden all practice in the art of alchemy? Huh. Somewhere beneath the long shadow of the Snow King, a young alchemist with long black hair was finally being unshackled, so he could conduct research that would defy every single taboo in existence. To the young man, the world was but an assemblage of elements, a meaning that was something that could only be found on the material plane. Already, but Bina isn't an alchemist, and she's also not shackled. A young alchemist with long black hair. Never mind. I thought this was talking about Dottore and Bina. Never mind. But a young alchemist with long black hair is finally being unshackled so we can conduct research that would defy every single taboo in existence. This is also pre-Tsaritsa, so this might be a hella long time ago. To the young man, the world was but an assemblage of elements, and meaning was something that could only be found on the material plane. To him, life was but an accidental puzzle assembled by nature over millennia, a mosaic that human intellect, reigning sovereign over all, could freely cut and paste at will. And thus you grew wings on four-legged beasts, and insect wings and casques on tigers and leopards. Though his reshaping of life impressed many of his peers, he remained unsatisfied. After all, beasts were but lives governed by witless souls, whereas the vessels of those possessing intellect should be far more complex and fascinating. Finally, in a move that was all but suicide, he turned his hands toward the Fae, who still held power at the time. This should have been the end of the young man's life. Instead, his crimes drew the attention of the Snow King, so he started trying to experiment on Fae, attracting the attention of the original Tsar. who sent him to labor at the institute where all taboos are touched, and where lines were mere suggestions and the basis for further experiments. It was on that afternoon that the gloomy alchemist first met the silver-haired maiden from our flower story. However, her gentle words and tenderness only wounded his pride. Driven by spite, or perhaps by a desire to provoke her into fear and drive her away, the alchemist used the brief moment of their handshake to work a secret art, causing an ear to grow within her palm. Ah, I see now. So this is the art you have mastered. This will be of great use to our endeavor indeed. The maiden covered her mouth with the hand that bore the ear and whispered to it. It was only— man, that is such a cool visual. Really fucking weird. An ear in the palm of your hand. She covers her mouth and whispers to it. It was only when she saw the confusion on the alchemist's face that she realized he could not hear through the ear in her palm. It was, after all, meant to be just a temporary modification of the flesh using secret arts, nothing more than a loathsome prank. The extra organ soon fell away like a scab, gross, dissolving into a puddle of mud, even grosser. The maiden, however, felt a trace of regret. That was quite fascinating. However, you should understand that there are strict rules and procedures in this place. The next time you intended to attempt such a thing, remember to submit a request to me beforehand. Also, time is short, and your schedule is written free. The encounter left the dark-haired young man in a trance-like state for the rest of the afternoon. In this daze, he perceived something invisible, something intangible, that rose above material life. And the world was no longer a mere puzzle of countless accidents haphazardly pieced together. Within it, he found something that stung, yet also stirred yearning within him. It was that would be weird. No crafting bench in Snezhnaya? Because that would be annoying, but also like because you can just teleport over to Nodcry. Like that would be really interesting if they held to that to the point of not having a crafting bench. A time before the Tsaritsa, but it doesn't say how long before the Tsaritsa. A time when the land of ice and snow had not yet, due to the Harbingers, forbidden all practice of the art of alchemy. So Piero potentially is the one who is enforcing that? Because Piero is the original founder of the Fatui and of the Harbingers. It's not necessarily deeply connected to the Tsaritsa, even though it's based within her lands, and she obviously has a bunch of knowledge about what they do and signs off on certain ongoings that happen. Ultimately, Piero is still the founder. So potentially he was the one who forbid the practice of alchemy. Somewhere beneath the long shadow of the Snow King, a young alchemist with long black hair was finally being unshackled, so we can conduct research that would defy every single taboo in existence. This should have been the end of the young man's life when he started experimenting with the Fae. His crimes drew the attention of the Snow King, who sent him to labor at an institute where he met the snow-haired maiden. Did Piero have white hair during the... Hold on. God's Limits, engage. Well, he was already old during God's Limits, though, wasn't he? Yeah, he was already... also, for no reason. I just had to look at this really quick. Anyways. Interesting. So this is the arts you have mastered. It will be great use to our endeavor. Driven by spite or perhaps a desire to provoke fear into her. Brief moment of their handshake. Weird. Huh. Pale Starborn right after this artifact set? We can do that. Weird. Sans Goblet next. So that was, it was a fleeting moment she gave him. And this is the Sans. Which is, Sands of Time is always a pocket watch, isn't it? Or some kind of timekeeping device where there's an hourglass, or this looks like a sundial. That's just a clock. Sky's Unveiling is just a clock. Fragment is a sundial or a pocket watch kind of thing. A fleeting moment she gave a certain silent alchemist to remind him of every item on his schedule. Okay, Goblet next. Goblet, plume, circlet. It was a goblet of wine she had accepted in celebration from the hands of a colleague. There was a time when primordial venom and primal light clashed in a corner unseen by the heaven's gaze. If a love or fervor and an ambition just greater than the world itself were to take shape, and they had to be born and kindled in a place unseen by any eye, it was a design that could it was a design that could not endure the slightest deviation in its course, and an experiment that stood but a hair's breadth from world-spanning madness. It was almost as if someone had stayed the hand of fate itself, forcing coin toss after coin toss until the desired outcome was reached. Or perhaps only through upheaval at the periphery can certain possibilities pass through layer upon layer of constraint and be captured or brought into being by a plan most absurd. This whole thing is so, like, just metaphysical, in the first paragraph, like metaphysical musings. There was a time when primordial venom and primal light clashed in a corner unseen by the heaven's gaze. And be captured or brought into being by a plan most absurd. Once upon a time, at the behest of a snow king burdened by sin and remorse, a group of people was assembled and tasked with a single purpose. Remind me of something that I should know. The Tsaritsya is not the original of the Cryo Archons. Or, no, she is not the original Cryo Archon, correct? At the behest of a snow king burdened by sin and remorse, a group of people was assembled and tasked with a single purpose. To seek the stairway leading to the vacant seat in the court of the stars. To seek the stairway leading to the vacant seat in the court of the stars. That makes it seem like the place where Asmodee is no longer. When I think of stairways leading to a vacant seat in the court of the stars, I think of the God's Limits trailer, where the three shades were huddled around and one spot was missing. I don't know if that's what they're referring to, but that's what I think of. Beldisar, presumably her father, okay. Only Zhongli, Venti are OGs. Well, and Raiden, even though, well, yeah, but she's a replacement to Makoto. Even though she was there, she was not the original Electro Archon. Yeah, she's sort of OG. She in effect though was to Makoto what Sara is to her. She was just Makoto's executor and executioner. Her swift and terrible right hand. Asmodee, more like MIA. It was also when she was simply a Kagemusha for Makoto that she first met Zhongli at a quote-unquote gathering of the gods, which is interesting. I wonder if that means, was it, sorry, real quick ADD. I first met him.
I had an opportunity to feast with him once. back when I was just a Kagemusha attending a gathering of the gods.
Interesting. I imagine that being before Archon War. You know what I mean? I imagine that... I don't know why, though, but I imagine that being prior to the Archon War. The Archon War wiped out a bunch of, like, lesser gods, like demigods. Or people who were god or demigod level. Because I can't imagine in the wake of the Archon War there were many gatherings thereof. Maybe a victory feast after the Archon War? Oh, maybe. Yeah. Post-Archon War, and she just used the word god, yeah. A has such a fascinating history. I still want to know about the statue outside of Tenchukaku and what that has to do. We discussed that several times before, that it seems like all of the Archons have some sort of connection to a shade. Venti most obviously, you know.
Doing whatever I feel like, I suppose. Same with tomorrow, and the day after that.
I land love yon. We were on Goblet, correct? Goblet. Once upon a time, at the behest of a Snow King burdened by sin and remorse, a group of people was assembled and tasked with a single purpose: to seek the stairway leading to the vacant seat in the Court of the Stars, a passage to a place where worry and sorrow would no longer trouble them ever again. Countless days and nights of toil passed as the Snow King's company was driven through an unending succession of forbidden acts and descents into the ruins of ancient civilizations, all to trace the faint outline of a dream once shaped by a primordial golden realm, and bring forth a vast embryo long hidden in shadow. The ancient Domovoi Alvis cast his gaze past the princess of the Snegorochka and the brooding long-haired alchemist as he rose from his high stool. An amiable yet unloving old man, the great lord of Kitezgrad. That's like a shitty Swedish accent, not a Kitezgrad. That's like a shitty Swedish accent I just did, not a shitty Russian accent. Who had monopolized the city's mining industry since its founding, raised his wine cup toward her and said, It is hard to imagine such a great undertaking ultimately being led and completed by humans. But we are all aware of what you have given, such that you could reach and even surpass everything left by those who came before in the blink of a single lifetime, Axinia. And you have every right to take pride in this achievement. It could not have been easy for the Domovoi Lord, who had always held humanity in little regard, to make such a pronouncement. The girl recalled their very first encounter, the deep disgust and fear of humankind barely concealed in his eyes. But none of that mattered any longer, for the Fae's hopes and resentments were of no consequence next to the Snow King's grand dream. Ancient Domovoi Alvis is a Fae, an amiable yet unloving old Fae. For the Fae's hopes and resentments were of no consequence next to the Snow King's grand dream. Besides, this Domovoi, who had appeared time and again throughout the history of the Snowbound Kingdom, had all along freely imparted all he knew to her, and yet he had also provided counsel on many a matter. So in some sense, he had already come both mentor and friend to the silver-haired girl. And so she, too, raised her goblet, spilling a little of the bitterness that had been poured into it along the way. In the Domovoi's eyes, Axinia saw a warm, earnest affection, one an elder might feel toward a younger. When primordial venom and primal light clashed in a corner unseen. If a love, a fervor, and an ambition just greater than the world itself were to take shape, they had to be born and kindled in a place unseen by any eye. It was a design that could not endure the slightest deviation in its course, an experiment that stirred the hair's breadth from world-spanning madness. Stayed the hand, it fades itself, forcing a coin toss after coin toss until the desired outcome was reached. A goblet of wine she had accepted in celebration from the hands of a colleague. Plume next, right? Plume, then circlet. It was a feathered quill given to her followers, once used to pen the most absurd of dreams. It was here that the young apprentice, following the silver-haired researcher into the shadows of the world, beheld the ruins of a once resplendent golden civilization laid waste by devastation. Wonder what that is. The towers, frozen in time and space, loomed like giants with shattered bodies, while the earth lay open as a weeping gash. It was a blow that the master of the heavens had struck, a wound congealed upon the world since days long past. All dreams of freedom had been annihilated, extinguished as fast as snow beneath a scorching sun. A cruel reaping met every seed of rebellion before it could even sprout. Even so, the researcher who had witnessed it all pressed on through the ruins, seemingly oblivious to the danger, moving deftly as if dancing across a tightrope of blades and ice. Are you not afraid? The path you walk, the path once trod upon by those before you, ended in nothing but destruction. Are you not afraid? The threshold you seek to cross is long shattered, and the stars severed by the high heavens. The silver-haired researcher listened quietly to the young apprentice's pleas for caution, even as she continued to sketch the design of a grand undertaking never meant to be. As they spoke, the researcher recalled that the domovoi before her was actually slightly older than herself. But she did not sneer at the fear born of witnessing the collapse of a grand civilization. On the contrary, she looked straight into those trembling eyes and into the doubt at the very core of the other's being. The fire may have been lit, but what remains today is but its long-cooled grave. We do this not to take on another's legacy, but to see clearly by the fire's light. So fear not, even if we are unable to step into the new world, there will be others after us who can go one step further. And fear not, for even if we cannot cross the new threshold, our bones shall serve as the next step for others to climb. That is such a metal thing to say. If I die on the way there, let my skeleton be a rung on the ladder for the next who come. The silver-haired researcher, damn, that is so metal. The silver-haired researcher, a girl no longer, placed her pen in her apprentice's hand. The young domovoi's hand grew heavy, not from the feather, but the sheer weight of the researcher's conviction. Sorry, I don't know why it just turned into a rotary engine for a sec. Rotary engines are based, by the way. The towers, frozen in time and space, loom like giants. A once resplendent golden civilization, which is Hyperborea, not Conria. My only key in, because I think I often confuse the two whenever they're referenced. The key in is that Conria is never referred to as a golden civilization or a city of gold, or a land of gold. Gold is always in reference to Hyperborea. And what is Conria? I once said they talked about like a copper city or a city of copper, and I said, oh, that's Conria, but that was incorrect. What is referred to as a city of copper? Was that not Aru, but was that yeah, Golden is directly Hyperborea's title. Oh, so the Golden City is not even just like a street name for Hyperborea, but that's its direct title. Okay. The silver-haired researcher listened quietly to the young apprentice's pleas for caution. Even as she continued to sketch the design of the grand undertaking never meant to be, as she spoke, the researcher recalled the domovoi before her was actually slightly older than herself. She straightened those trembling eyes and into the doubt, the core of the other's being. Copper City is maybe Natlan tea. Risley prefers Fontaine tea. The fire, but what that? I'm sorry. The fire may have been lit, But what remains today is but its long, cold grave. We do this not to take on another's legacy, but to see clearly by the fire's light. Even if we are unable to step into the new world, there will be others after us, and if I cannot cross, let my bones serve as the next step. I fucking love this game. Circle at last. And that was a feathered quill given to her followers, once used to pen the most absurd of dreams. Tobias nailed people, bro. It's long gone. They have a name. It was a delicate trinket awarded to her in praise by the hand of her only master. It was a gift from the towering man upon the throne, given in celebration of her birth. To the Lord of Ice and Frost, whose years spanned the long ages, the blossoming of a human life passes in the mere blink of an eye. He still remembered wandering in that world of shadows. There, he recalled, lay the shattered golden homeland, the mother he had never met. It was there that he discovered the secrets of the Hyperboreans that had been buried in the deepest reaches, finding the answers about himself that he had pursued for thousands of years. But nothing he learned was enough to free him from the endless pain and doubt. For more often than not, wisdom is but a curse in disguise. What game was it that, I'm gonna be a million% honest, I only remember this quote, from Wade, Lord Minion 777, one of Markiplier's buddies. Salvation comes at the cost of wisdom. What game was that? Was that a Diablo game? And I gotta be honest, I only remember that because Wade once quoted it during one of their Let's Plays. I don't know why it reminded me of that quote. Nothing he learned was enough to free him from the endless pain and doubt, for more often than not, wisdom is but a curse in disguise. Countless times thereafter, he walked the ruins in the shadows, pondering whether he should shoulder such a burden. For in this day and age, none remained who would demand the responsibilities and burdens he had made to bear. That is, until one day he passed by a broken structure filled with life-sustaining devices from ages past. Those must have been the efforts of the ancients to endure into the future, he thought, as the blade of the heavens hung ever lower over them. Though he had seen such devices in the distant past, the ones he encountered there were either broken or had otherwise failed. This time was different. Among the darkened devices, one suddenly flickered to life, as if it had sensed something. It was like a random number appearing in a cold calculation, a small, otherwise insignificant blip suddenly magnified beyond all proportion. He opened the fragile hatch as if opening a treasure chest, and inside he found, unconscious, yet still alive, a silver-haired infant. "Thank you for the gift," said the young lady as she sat upright and touched the fresh piercing in her ear. Her earlobes were still burning a little. The King of the North returned to the present moment. The young lady, who was all grown up, spoke her thanks with a hint of probing intent. "What can I give you in return?" she asked. It was a question to which no answer was really needed, but all of a sudden, a long, lingering sadness settled over his thoughts like frost, and in the end, he relented and told the young maiden of the vision he had once held, or perhaps had held for far too long. Fucking weird. Huh. I'm still stewing on that. I just went nonverbal for a full, 15 seconds. I'm still stewing on that. Huh. Because that's the end of this artifact set. Huh. Disenchantment in deep shadow. And that was iridescence that ceased amidst glory, moment that ceased upon walking from grand dreams, ovations that ceased upon festivity, sharpness that ceased upon wondrous creation, and pendulum that ceased amidst the great fall. What did we need to read immediately after that one, you said? Pale Starborn. A brief history of the Pale Starborn. Oh, it's only one. It's a lengthy one, but it's only one volume. Huh. Okay. Let's. I actually would kind of like to switch from that to this. Volume 1 of 1. In the third year of the 428th cycle, that is the 76th year after Emperor Monomach Snezhny raised the imperial capital, 127, upon the frozen earth, the emperor dispatched envoys unto the fiefs of the villa, and said unto them, "To whom do you offer tribute?" They answered, "Unto King Miskislav, 128. And what are the annotations? What are the 128 annotations? Okay, they're annotated down here. And the imperial, unto King Miskislav, and the imperial emissaries said unto them, "Do so no longer, for they demand unlovely tribute." And the villa did cease their tithings. In the third year of the 428th cycle, that is the 76th year after Emperor Monomach Snezhny raised the imperial capital. Oh, this is short. There's just a lot of it expanded on in the annotations. Okay. Kitej was the first city in all of Snezhnaya. This imperial capital was built after the custom of the Fey ancestors, remaining the center of power over the frozen lands from the 4th year of the 417th cycle, that is, the year of its founding, until His Majesty the Emperor, in his boundless mercy and grace, pardoned humanity and gave them membership in his realm, moving his seat to Snezhnegrad. So that, the 76th year after Emperor Monomach Snezhny raised the imperial capital upon the frozen earth. King Miskislav, 128. Miskislav, known in the Volkov Chronicles as the Blood Devourer, the great ruler of all Volkodlak, the wise blood drinker, the master of the Miskislavi alliance. According to the Volkodlak under his command, King Miskislav was a hulking figure, standing out even upon great battlefields like a mighty mountain. As such, he was also known by Fey chronicles as Gorinish, or Son of the Mountain. So this huge-ass dude, unto King Miskislav, and the imperial emissaries said unto them, Music felt a little bit loud again. And the imperial emissary said to them, "They demand unlovely tribute." 129. The term lovely, as pointed out in the theory of Fey language, can also be translated in our modern context as beneficial, lovable, or endearing. It should be evident that these words meant rather similar things in those days. The meaning of the emperor's envoys' words, therefore, should be understood to mean their demand for tributes from you is undesirable or perhaps unbeneficial to you. Some scholars have, as such, interpreted the envoy's words as a veiled threat. For more relevant information, as well as the precise semantic scope of this term, please refer to discussion found within the Theory of Fey Language. Is that another book as well? Theory of Fey Language? The 4th year of the 428th cycle, the 5th year of the 428th cycle. In the 6th year of the 428th cycle, King Mstislav spoke to his people, his kin, and his confederates, accusing the Pale Star Court, of breaking the standing peace agreement. He demanded the emperor pay tribute for 10 years, the grain of 600 granaries and gold to fill thirsty storehouses, and sufficient slaves to transport such a bounty. This was 30 times the amount that had been demanded of the villa. The emperor rejected that ultimatum, and both sides prepared for war soon after. War, even to the eye of later generations, Mstislav, the realm established by the wise among the Volkodlak, was entirely preposterous in his accusations against the Pale Star's royal court. Volkodlak are basically Slavic werewolves. Huh. In this case, may be vampiric in nature. Entirely preposterous in his accusations against the Pale Star royal court. Let's see, that's 130. Okay. Yet the accusations were not wholly unreasoned, or rather, King Mstislav, king of the Volkodlak, that is not that difficult, it is very phonetic, whose kingdom bore his name, sought to provoke war for a truer purpose. That is, his fear of the Pale Star Court's rise since the previous conflict. Under Emperor Monomach, the alliance centered around Kitezhgrad developed an entirely new character over the course of the century. It rapidly advanced both in economy and governmental structure. To allow Emperor Monomach to gain the upper hand in this tug-of-war was anathema to King Mstislav. Thus began the war that would ultimately shape the destiny of this continent shrouded in silver snow. That was from 130, which was up here. The emperor rejected this ultimatum and both sides prepared for war, the below, thereafter. The emperor said, to sacrifice ourselves for the homeland is honorable. Let our comrades in this be our swords and our love. Our enemies proclaim peace, for they wish to stir up war. Should we shamefully give in to them, meaning the Volkodlak, our sons and daughters shall face war greater still. Thus let us fight bravely for our survival. Let us taste the honeyed wine of victory and let us make of ourselves a glorious oblation. In the 7th year of the 428th cycle, King Mstislav launched an assault upon Kitej. There's just Kitej. And the theme is something to avoid, okay. And that was to allow Emperor Monomach to gain the upper hand in this tug-of-war was something to avoid. Okay. Upon Kitej, at the head of the great host. The Mstislavi clans marched with him, as did the people of Nyomgatir? Is the TH in this spoken like the I can't remember what the rune is called or what the letter is called, but in Icelandic there's a character that's pronounced like almost like a TZH or TSH. Like a deer. Like Njomgartir. 131. And this is speaking of the people of Njomgartir. Volkodlak of bovine aspect. Interesting. Were-cows. Dalegrad, Sinarika, and their numerous servants, 134. Okay, so Dalegrad, 132, not Sinarika, Sirnareka. Clan of water imps, that's interesting. With wolf-like appearances, okay, and primarily military retainers. So, bovine aspect, water imps, wolfer imps? Bovine aspect, water imps, wolf-like, and military retainers. The Mstislavi clans marched with him as did all those people. 3 times the armies clashed at Kidej, in the foothills of the frozen lake, and on the plains. The emperor slew King Mstislav and many princes who followed him. The emperor slew King Mstislav. King Mstislav took personal command in these 3 large-scale battles against the emperor. Legend has it that, driven by despair in that final battle, he sought to use... Sorry. Almost pulled a cable out. I uncrossed my legs. And bumped against a cable under my desk. I do not have good cable management, by the way. Forgive me. Forgive me, for I have skirked. Legend has it that, driven by despair in that final battle, he sought to use the power of the Shadow Realm to delay the advance of the Pale Star's court forces. Though this measure failed to turn the tide, it did have an impact on the Emperor's future decisions. Please refer to a history of the Snezhny expedition for detailed records of said 3 battles. It is worth noting that out on the flank, the Shnepkin Legion had received orders from King Mstislav to pursue and prevent Imperial forces from uniting, yet they were mysteriously misled by the icy fog that day. Misjudging their route of advance, they missed the opportunity to strike and could not prevent the Imperial forces from linking up. This ultimately caused the defeat of Mstislav's forces in a head-on clash. This incident has been recorded by a great many historians, but the cause of the sudden shift in weather remains unknown. King Mstislav was eventually slain when the Emperor's spear pierced through his head. Brutal. It is said that the bear-shaped skull, large as a chariot, now housed in the Zapolyarny Palace treasury, still bears marks left by that spear. I want to find that shit. I want to find that shit in the palace. Holy shit. A bear-shaped skull large as a chariot with a hole through the skull from a spear piercing his head from the Emperor. I don't know why, for some reason, I don't think it really makes sense as to be an inspiration. It in some way reminded me of the charge of the Light Brigade, but re-looking at it further, it obviously is not like inspired by the charge of the Light Brigade. It reminded me of the charge of the Light Brigade, though. Okay. That was 135. The Emperor slew King Mstislav and many princes who followed him. Grand Duke Seraviki was fortunate to escape with his life, but both Grand Dukes Skoririt and Vodyanoi Skoririt and Vodyanoi, I am so sorry, were pierced by the Emperor's spear and slain. Okay, let's backtrack. King Seraviki, 136. Seraviki the Grey Wolf and the Volkov Chronicles, so the Volkov Chronicles record. Ruler of Sinernika, who are the wolf-like Volkodlak. A cunning wolf known for his agility, said to have engaged in clandestine dealings early in the war with Porphyry, the minister then in charge of the Pale Star's finances. Following the fall of King Mstislav's rule, he was the sole Fey Grand Duke to slip immediately and effortlessly into the ranks of the ministers in the Pale Star's royal court. As such, some scholars believe that the future of the Specken Legion under his command to pursue battle at a critical moment was no mere accident. Though his hypothesis cannot be considered supported by sufficient evidence. After the war, he was honored by Emperor Monomakh, then already known as the Belisar, with the ceremonial tap of his longsword on his shoulder. Was fortunate to escape with his life, but both Grand Dukes... Okay, so Seraviki was fortunate to escape with his life, which is called into question a bit. Not that he was fortunate to escape, but why he was fortunate to escape. But these Grand Dukes were pierced by the Emperor's spear and slain. So these guys... Skoririt, known as the Deepwood Bull in the Volkov Chronicles, Grand Duke of the Neumgartir under Mstislav's command. During the second campaign, he proposed leading an elite vanguard to circle around to the rear of the Pale Star's court forces. He planned to launch a surprise attack and force them into an ambush zone while the main army would encircle said zone and strike. However, intelligence regarding this strategy was seized by a Fey who had infiltrated King Mstislav's army, Filipov, loyal to His Majesty the Emperor and most skilled in transformation techniques. The Emperor adjusted his plans accordingly. Grand Duke Skolier's surprise attack ironically led him to become deeply encircled by the Pale Star's royal army. The Pale Star forces entrapped his, all the while destroying any arriving relief columns, causing King Mstislav's forces to suffer a catastrophic defeat in the second battle. The Grand Duke was then slain in this battle when His Majesty the Emperor's spear pierced his chest. He planned to launch a surprise attack and force them into an ambush zone, when encircle said zone and strike. The strategy was seized by a Fey who had infiltrated King Mstislav's army. That reminds me in some way, very loosely, all of these references that I'm pulling, like this reminds me of yada yada yada. You bacon Germany. Well, do you? All of these are very loose, like analogies. It's very grasping at straws, but it reminded me a bit of the Battle of Thermopylae Pass. The quote-unquote the 300 Spartans, which is not just 300 Spartans, it's 300 Spartans, like 700 Thespians, 1,000 other, were Athenians in that battle as well. Not Athenians, but, the people of Marathon. But, it reminded me of that because conceivably, the Spartans and the Greek line could have held, not indefinitely, but every time Xerxes threw, whether it was his regular foot soldiers or the Immortals, his highest ranking soldiers, they were used to like mounted combat on big plains. And the Greeks had positioned themselves in that pass so strategically there was no way to really flank them on that. There's a highway that goes through, like there's a road that goes through there now that kind of approximates where the shoreline in 480 BC would have been. And it's crazy narrow for an ancient battlefield. And the only reason that they broke through is because was it a traitor from Thespia that actually informed the Persian forces of that hidden path through the mountains around them to outflank them. And there was also a detachment of Thespians who were guarding that mountain pass, that mountain shortcut, who then believed that Thespia was about to be attacked, so they retreated from that shortcut over to defend their city-state. And so, anyways, I don't know why that kind of reminded me with Fey infiltrated King Mstislav's army. It kind of very loosely reminded me of Thermopylae. Thermopylae gets all the love. Another fascinating battle that was taking place at the exact same time was the battle in the Artemisium Strait. Very interesting. Themistocles, just as much of a combat genius as a lot of other warriors in antiquity. Okay, so we just finished up 138. No, we didn't. We finished 137. 138, okay, so the 138 was the other Grand Duke who was slain. And then 139 is describing the Emperor's spear, or that thereof. So 138, this is another Grand Duke who was slain. Vodyanoi, given the appellation of Lackland by the Volkov Chronicles, ruler of Dalegrad, forbear to all waterborn in the frozen lake. Waterborn, Dalegrad, the clan of water imps. Forward to all waterborne in the frozen lake. A warrior of unparalleled valor, yet a brute like no other, skilled in launching surprise attacks from beneath the surface. Toward the end of the second campaign, the Grand Duke of the Domovoy, Alvis, lured his... The Grand Duke of the Domovoy, Alvis, lured his legions beyond the frozen lake through cunning strategy, killed when the Emperor's spear pierced his chest. The Emperor's spear, those unfamiliar with the battlefield, often questioned many descriptions in the battle accounts, including the records of him wielding it to slay the enemy commanders as the two armies fought it out. Most skeptics typically argue that, given the size of the armies and the commanders' positions within the formations, it would have been almost impossible for the commanders to engage in direct combat amidst the chaotic melee. The following must be clarified. The Emperor's feat of piercing the enemy's commanders with his spear did not occur as a result of a direct engagement. Rather, the spear was used as an arrow. That's an interesting way to phrase it, because wouldn't it be more accurate to refer to it as was used as a javelin? The spear was used as an arrow, launched with force unimaginable by common knowledge, piercing through the battlefield. In his mercy and love, the Emperor sought their bodies out and had them returned to their clans for burial. The Emperor said thus, "They were not kings, nor born of sacred blood, nor were they meant for rulership. Yet heir to the Pale Star and protector of all Fae am I. Thus did the remaining clans of the Fae seek an audience with him, and thus did he gain the authority to govern them. From that day forth he named himself Bailey Sar." They were not kings nor born of sacred blood. A sacred bloodline, the meaning of which is unknown. Emperor Monomach laid claim to the title Lord of all Fae, and as such, he should have been the same blood as the other fairies. It would seem that he merely used phrase as a means to establish legitimacy. And then we have a split right here. The first year of the 799th cycle, in the fourth month of this year, Anastasia Fyodorovna was crowned as Tsaritsa of all Snezhnaya. Many of the Fae princes did not come into Snezhnograd to seek an audience with her. The Dalegrad clan broke ties with Snezhnograd, for Emperor Monomach had passed away. In the second year of the 799th cycle, the humans of Port Belovdie, taking advantage of the Emperor Monomach's demise, declared self-governance in the winter, rebelling against the Fae princes. Grand Duke Drevnogorez launched an assault against them, but failed to secure victory. Where were we? In the third year of the 799th cycle, Tsaritsa Anastasia deployed troops to attack the forces of the independent government, occupying the territory of Drevogore, Volkovan, and Sinareka clans along the way, charging them with negligence and condoning rebellion. Their princely titles as she charged them with the crimes of negligence and the crime of negligence and the crime of condoning rebellion. Their princely titles as rulers of these territories were revoked, their positions taken over by non-hereditary officials. Unlike Emperor Monomach, she did not muster the Druzhna, but rather established a force known as the Fatui. It was they who conquered the lands of the Fae princes. Grand Duke... In the third year of the 799th cycle, where are we at right now? Like, how long ago was this? Tsaritsa Anastasia deployed troops to attack the forces of the independent. And this is in the second year of the 799th cycle. In the first year of the 799th, in the fourth month of this year, Anastasia was crowned Tsaritsa of all Snezhnaya. 400 plus. Oh, right. Right after Cataclysm. Cities Anastasia deployed troops, established a force known as the Fatui. It was they who conquered the lands of the Fey Princes. Grand Duke Drevogore accused the Tsaritsa herself of treason and met the Fatui with his own forces, and there he perished. On the 10th day of the 3rd month, the Tsaritsa dispatched envoys to Port Belovodie. They calmed the separatist forces and requested that they hand over the instigators of the rebellion, promising amnesty to all others. The request was accepted, and thus did the port escape being leveled. On the 23rd day of the same month, she then sent emissaries to all the Fey princes who had not yet come to seek an audience with her. She demanded they hand over all their authority, promising that they would retain their honorary titles as aristocracy. Many would pass on before they could make their replies, and those who remained acceded. Acceded? What's that mean? To give one's consent, often at the insistence of another. So says Merriam-Webster. Thus did Tsaritsa Anastasia take control of the north. In the 4th year of the 799th, the Tsaritsa... Oh my gosh, we're already done with this? We carved through that much already? In the 4th year of the 799th, I know there's a lot of people who throw shade at the lore. They're like, oh, it's all lore and none of it is actual story. I don't feel like that's I feel like that's a fair complaint, but also the lore is so fucking good. Like, yeah, it is a bit of a show it is a bit of a tell instead of show, but so many games are like that. Go play old Final Fantasy games and tell me that those don't hit just as hard. Tell me that Aerith, you know, that scene, tell me that does not hit just as hard, despite there being shit tons of reading, and a lot of it being told, not shown. It is obviously a flaw in storytelling to tell, not show, but I love it. It's not even like, oh, I can overlook it. I love these just pieces of, these collections of paragraphs that are there for you to discover by reading. I love it. Damn. Anyway, I cannot believe we went through it that quickly. In the 4th year of the 799th, the Tsaritsa bade the Fatui build a new fortress near Snezhnograd. Its name would be Glupov, meaning the city of fools. 5th year of the 799th, 6th year of the 799th, the Tsaritsa established the Snezhnograd Vector, oh yeah, to handle the administrative issues caused by the absence of the various princes. The human Ioana Ivanovna, where have I heard that before? Ivanovna was appointed its first chairperson. The fuck have I heard that before? Mage J, fuck. Oh, Joanna, but an I instead of a J. Was appointed its first chairperson in the 7th year of the 799. And we've heard nary a word about her through all of the game, not the lore, I guess, but through all of the game, the Archon quests, even the trailers. The 7th year of the 799th, the Imperial Order the First Galactic Empire. The Imperial Order Reformation Edict was published. A great many princely Fae, deeply grateful for the Tsaritsa's mercy and virtue, voluntarily forsook their noble titles and departed Snezhnaya. Holy shit. A brief history of the Pale Starborn. Ovna is used for daughter of someone. Oh. Huh. In Tsaritsa's case, Anastasia Fedorovna means her father's name was Feodor. So lots of pretty famous out there. The biggest takeaway, you might say. Interesting. So it's literally like Jackson, son of Jack, or Erickson, Leif Erikson, son of Eric the Red. Huh. Whoa, did you hear my stomach growl just then? I ate a donut before hopping on stream, so you might be hearing my stomach protest such nutrition. Huh.
Can we play banker next time?
I need some Mora. Let's do a Mora ley line real quick as I Let's do a Mora ley line real quick while I think about I should not take this team to where should we do let's Zuma. Do you have... Yeah, you do. Okay, yeah, I did give you seat lollies for the time being. Although... that still only gives you 293 EM, which is more EM than you would have otherwise, but you'd almost be served better on an attack substat piece. What attack substat pieces do I have? Oh my fucking... Okay. I just immediately think like, oh, Animo driver? Clearly she wants EM. Hi. The Fontaine craftable... Really? Oh, right. It applies a bond of life to her, but I guess that might not really matter a whole lot, would it? I don't need double shields, by the way. Nor do I want double shields. This was kind of a, like, characters that I rarely play team. Who else can I put in here? Who else do I rarely play?
Anytime, any place. Rise with the sun.
You can't run! Up and away! Shiver! I'm the frying pan! Let them fly!
Her last attack takes a shit ton of time to come out.
Full throttle.
Where did you idiots go? Get back here, you crazies! Rosaria, you missed.
You're toast!
Burn it down.
What the hell was that noise, Rosaria? This guy thinks he's a ruined serpent. Oh right, there's we didn't change the music. Oh my chef! She's fine. A, help please. Thank please. I think we read Celestial Gift next, and then we save Vera's melancholy. Vera's melancholy. We save Vera's melancholy for a different day.
Now, where in the world did I put that book?
Out of the frying pan, into the fire!
Ugh. This bird can't be killed, by the way, because it's part of an interaction. It's not just a bird. She's taking that rather well. This is fine. This is fine.
You can't run!
Anyways, oh, I can't disband a deploy team. No, deploy this one. I want to play Lanyan more. I just don't know what team to put her in. What could she work well as the driver of? An overload team? A melt
Doesn't
team?
matter where, I'll be there.
Oh, excuse me. I want to play Lanyard more. I mean, I could... You're right. I could just... legitimately just this team. Or rather... Kazuha's great, but like... Sucrose's EM share is critical. You could just put any Electro or Animo in place of Flynn's and be pretty okay.
Coming!
Oh, I unearthed a Matsutake by doing that.
There. All better. Next time, if it's too heavy, don't try and lift it. Acting tough isn't going to solve anything. Now, if you injure yourself again, or if there's an emergency, you know where to find me, okay? Off you go now. Oh, actually, one moment. Take this twig. I picked it up by the roadside. It seems nice and sturdy.
Base Lauma finding cool sticks shaped like swords.
Of course. And do tell your friends that they're always welcome here if they need a warm place to stay. I know the weather's been quite cold lately.
Whoa, I did not mean to... Guys! I can have those eggs, right, Bina? It would be fucking hilarious if Sandy did not take... If you know, don't say, please. But it would be... Oh, right. These actually do bonk, don't they? It'd be hilarious if Sandy did not use Fatui materials.
There we go. Another task done and dusted.
Why are they here? Oh, I rang the bell. I rang the drums. Wait. What? Even a weasel thief is here. Why though? I also may have been trying to kill the squirrel. I saw a squirrel run up and I was like, ooh. Friendly fire may be turned on. We don't know. Friendly fire is turned on. As are all of you. Have I done all of my, oh, I have. I'm slouched so low in my chair right now, hang on. Ugh. Nicole would be displeased. Well, you know what, Nicole? Maybe I'm displeased at losing my first 50-50 in several months. Oh, right. She's like, yeah, how about you lose a 50-50 every once in a while?
Add
How about you experience the game like the rest of everyone else? That's not clip-worthy. Connery tried to kill his own. That's not clip-worthy. I'm fine. I'm gonna get Toes Constellation. It's gonna be interesting face cam streaming next week. I mean, what? Okay, what else do I need? I'm now at like 0 resin. Yeah, it's 7 resin. Better let the youngins. I can't remember what he says. I want to get my Dia up to 90. Do you think Kenichi should be okay with that? Me keeping him at 67? Me keeping him at 6'7"? Oh my gosh, look how stiff her hair is. Girl went out in the middle of Snezhnaya after a shower. Look how stiff her hair is. Anyways. He's aware. Here. What, how is he doing? How is he doing? Oh my gosh, Lanyan's cute. Oh, you know what? Lanyan is one of the few characters who her eyes move around in the party setup screen. You have to look really carefully, but her eyes are moving. Whoop, 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 whoop. Her eyes are moving very slightly. When she's in the. That's weird. Huh. The mannequin as well. In the party setup screen, she blinks. Nobody else does. Actually, I think Inefa might blink. Inefa blinks as well. She blonks. Look. Nobody else does. There's an Inefa blink I saw out of the corner of my eye. There was another one. Nobody else blinks. And definitely not anyone else. Their eyes move around to look at you. I noticed that in Zenless as well when you're in the when you're doing a half blink constantly. in Zenless when you're in like the skill screen, which I sometimes peruse for no reason. They don't just strike a pose and then stay there. Their eyes will kind of like dart around a little bit, like they're searching you, like they're inspecting or looking.
All right, let's go.
Like they're hashtag looking. Oh right, Raiden Shogun is what I named this. I do feel like. Can you dodge while he is circling around? I feel like I need a shield with him. We're still not playing game audio, are we?
You know what? Let's go fight this guy.
Durin instead of Nahida. I had Nahida in here because she's on Deep Woods, and I feel like that. I feel like Kanich would have liked that. You think that this team would be fine with only a solo, only a solo Dendro, and that solo Dendro being on Codex? Durin, Nicole, Iansan, huh? How is this? I mean, Iansan is there for buffing and a slight bit of healing. Doesn't really need... Kanich doesn't really need a ton of... doesn't really need Night Soul consumed, does he? So can I give a stronger healer in here? I feel like I am flying outside, and it's not a fault of Bennett. It kind of is, circle impact and all that. But I feel like I'm always throwing down Bennett's burst in the wrong location. Because Kanich's circle, his radius where he tethers around is much wider than Bennett's burst radius.
Light it up! Faster! Stronger!
Let's...
Target acquired. My mistake.
Oh, I tried dodging while I was in that.
Your souls in sacrifice. Scared, speechless. Forever hold your peace.
I don't often get to really listen to what he's saying. What did we say lanyard land party could be? Oh my gosh, land party!
Warm-up complete.
Oh, I don't have any other robots!
The campaign begins.
And then Sandy! You said Auron Benefa. What about Inefa and C6 Ino for some variety, because Columbia is fucking everywhere.
Yay! Playtime!
Oreo, he's level 70? I thought
What's the occasion?
I thought I had 80'd him. Is he bald? He's bald. Look at him, 7,000 HP. Bald. But Cinder and Severed, that's just because that's all I have in, that's just because that's all I have in reserve. Look at that bow on him. This is like what I tried to dress like in junior high. Oh, you're on those wings? What wings does he look good in? That's a little too purple, isn't it? The Wings of Dissension would look pretty good on him, but this isn't a PlayStation account. Okay. What else? What do we need right now? Aside from building Kanich. Oh, you know what I told my wife last night? I was like, I do really want to build my Noelle now because I have the fixins for a lunar crystallized Noelle. How fucking funny would it be if I started building Kanich, and in the middle of building Kanich, I final phased my Dia, and then instead of going back to building Kanich, I then moved on to building my Noelle instead. One day I will. What do we think? Here, let's use Frem as a placeholder.
At your command.
What do we think a Sandy team will be? I can honestly say with a fair amount of assuredness that Sandy is going to be a DPS because of the way that new artifact set. It's an attack substat and it's 4-piece bonus. Seems to imply it's for an on-field for a DPS. What teammates will we probably give her? It would be really funny.
I'm never late. I trust you.
To, like, just some of my favorite characters can slot in there.
Stay close and you will live.
And then EM Raiden. That would be really fun. And then Sandy over here, just a team full of 4 of my favorite ladies. All right, Frem, you can go. Thank you, Frem. I'm gonna do it. What does she need? She needs that thing. She would need more Valberries. We will get back to, let's end the stream off, actually, maybe, with Celestial Gift.
Well, since we're already caught in the rain, we might as well enjoy it. Saves us the energy of running for shelter, at least.
What's your energy requirement? 60. Level 4? I guess her, burst is, it's kind of nice to throw her burst across the table, though, when I have the ability to. Oh, hi! Why are you guys here?
Go claw!
Oh, look. Look how fucking cute she looks with that weapon skin. She was one of the smalls that was missing from the mini Hexen circle. So they gave her their sword. Where else are Valberries? Last time I had to grab Valberries was for, Lisa. What are y'all's theories on, I should grab those, crystal meth. What are y'all's theories on the weapon and the team comp role that we expect out of the Tsaritsa, considering what the other Archons are? Like, what are we due for? Are we kind of like, quote unquote, due for, another support, a DPS? The weird thing is that while she obviously isn't an Archon, Beta is kind of a everything, like not an everything, but she can be on field or off field. It's very weird the way that she works. Because Zhongli is a pure shielder. In practice, he is a pure shielder. That was so fucking weird. Let's turn the game music back on, my word. Hearing the curatorium music when we're climbing hills in Mondstadt was so weird. Catalyst, Claymore, Shielder are kind of what we're missing, you think?
Go! You're free now! He's free!
Fucking fly.
Ah! That didn't kill him! Ah! That didn't kill him! Ah! What the hell? Oh, it's the Sama down there. The Sama squirrel. Oh my gosh, why are there so many people here?
Go claw! Look, a rainbow!
Cleanup sequence in it.
DPS. Oh right. Traveler is using a polearm in the. What the fuck? Since when is that a thing?
Look, a rainbow!
Since 1.0, very rare. Since 1.0? I have never seen that before. I've never even heard of that before. Huh.
Look, a rainbow!
That's awesome. Gamers don't shut your crabs. Valberries. The gaze of the sky. People spend their whole life something, or whatever he says. People spend their whole life looking for the gaze of the gods, or what? I can't remember what he says, actually. People spend their whole life. People spend... People... Staying alive. People spend their whole lives coping on sin.
And yet, it is said that when mortals look, the gaze of the gods has always been considered a blessing.
You guys have fucking ruined
Hence
that
the
quote.
origin and meaning of visions. People have always yearned for the gaze of the gods.
Fucking hell. Ooh. Because it's such a dramatic, like, it's such an important dramatic thing he's saying. Valberries? Oh. Now, do we think Piero will ever be... It's really hard to say because we've never really seen him in-game. Do we think they'd make Piero playable? It's so interesting now being able to theorize about Snezhnaya stuff. Because, theorizing about, Natlan stuff and Nodcry stuff, somehow just, it hits different knowing that it's the last of the nations to explore. The last of the 7 to, obviously not the last area. There's still, this game still has a lot of steam left in it. But, oh, that's a sweet flower. Oh, that's a sweet flare.
Insulation chamber.
That punched through Inefa's shield? How did that punch through Inefa's shield, you crazies? Damn! Careful, Luna. That's an easy way to invoke the Twitch wrath.
Accelerating.
The wrath of the bots.
Mode engaged.
Poor Aina. It was like 3 barrels, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We could make the Nightbot randomly safe for Natlan again for no reason. Ah, Bobberies. I could easily just bring Mika along to help with farming, but... Who else is, I remember that Mika, is it Mika and Diona are the, oh my word, I might need to go get my stomach. My stomach sounds like a Meat Canyon character. Oh, you fed me a donut earlier. Miko? No, Mika. As in, what? Miko? What are you talking about? Klee and Mika. Mondstadt gather. Miko? What are you talking about?
Accelerate cleanup sequence.
Hey, yeah! That's one of my favorite, Xiangling voice lines. Hey, yeah! Mika and Diona. Oh, about the buff. This is also another one of my favorite idol animations because it's so fucking cute. He's like, yeah, there were bolts in my arms. Or in my sleeves. In my arms. There were bolts in my sleeves. There are bolts in my arms. Who did I climb in here to grab? Some 3.0 stream tomorrow, and then we will know who our reruns are. Here's hoping. I am holding out hope. You guys also said though, like the who you anticipate being the 3.0 debut banner character being. Why did I say that so clunkily? That's probably gonna. I'll probably be a fan of that. I will reserve judgment for when I know what our reruns are, but until then, I shall reserve.
Shiver.
I shall reserve.
Punishment.
Fuck! I never remember which one this was. I will reserve.
You can't run.
I will reserve.
Judgment.
For when I know who the rerun characters are. My word, that flopped. She's rather windy? What does that mean? Don't want to walk into that with Ino. This team would do fine against that thing, though. The Anemo Cube has always been super... It's a very weird one. I guess it's just 1.0 jank, but it's always been a really weird one because it's super squishy, but you can't one-cycle it. You have to get it down into its res phase, capture the wind currents, and then defeat it again. You can't just capture the wind currents and then end it in the middle of its res phase or prevent the res phase to begin with. It's a weird one. Because the other ones you can skip their res phase. I like saying res phase, apparently, because I keep saying res phase like 70 times in one. There's beginning of a new character, you'll probably be able to see in the menu. Oh, okay. Ignore that character as much as possible. Gotcha. The character just has written on their chest, just Rosebud was the sled. Just on their chest, written like a huge spoiler. Don't look at art as hard as you can. Okay. What if... How unhinged am I allowed to be right now? Have I earned an unhinged comment? I try not to. Someone commented on an old VOD, on like an old VOD. They were like, you say that you try not to have the stream turn into like talks about fan service and designs and that kind of stuff. Yet you were the one who pulled out Lisa's Japanese voice without anyone forcing you to. Why would they have changed with the Valberries? The Valberries at the edge of the map. Why would that have changed? Don't look at art as hard as you can. What if I'm not hard? Then can I look at the art? Okay, anyways. I know, cover your ears. Oron, you're also kind of a child. I do remember Oron Burst being really helpful against any of those Night Soul enemies that have the, what are those called? The Night Soul enemies that have the shield that needs elemental quantities. Void wards. Void Star. Speaking of Lisa, Transformigator, didn't we just do that? How am I this bad at keeping track of that? Okay, yeah, we can do that. I don't really need dandelion seeds. I don't know why I'm picking them up. Oh, you son of a snake! Speaking of a son of a snake, do you guys like any Cecilia havers here? And do you like her? Ooh, strawberries. Not hand. Why would you title that clip that? You will love to see when you meet have Baiju. He has a snake. Started on Premier banner, so have no one. Whoa, fuck! Hi! Why are you? Stop! Where'd she go? I thought she phased into the... I thought for a sec that she phased into the mountain. Oh, the geoshield's gone.
Farewell. Tell me what you see.
Defensive mode engaged.
I love the hover in midair that Ennefa does after you release her burst. Her recovery animation after her burst. She hovers in midair with jets coming out of her arms, like coming out of her hands like Iron Man.
Annihilation mode.
I love that. This cute robot is pretty cute. Where's the rest of the... Okay.
My lance and crossbow are prepped and ready.
All right. What are we doing today, Connery? Don't worry, don't worry. Nothing extreme.
Into the wind.
Oh, we're just gathering materials? Oh. Well, that's fine. I can do that no problem. My Mika voice sounds like a really shitty version of Deku from My Hero Academia. Oh! Apologies, headphone havers. Oh, so all we're doing is grabbing materials? You don't need me to fight any harbingers or giant fire dragons? All right. Well, let's get going. Hey, speaking of which, Connery, are you ever gonna ascend me? Unlikely. Oh, hi there, friends. Welcome to the circus. Oh, thank you, Brigitte. He's dead. Where there? All right, over to Storm Bear Mountains. Hey, you didn't finish your thought from earlier because you got jump scared by a barrel that killed your child. What a crazy sentence to say out of context. Anyways, are you ever gonna, like, ascend me? Not even just, like, build me, but ascend me past 20? That'd be pretty cool, you know. I could be really helpful for your Arlecchino. I know you play her a lot. On today's episode of I'm fucking, going insane, talking to myself in my room for hours at a time. Unlikely, Mika. However, there's a non-zero chance that I build you because it's actually, don't take this the wrong way, but it's actually a punishment. By which I mean, like, I have a really bad habit of my Yenfei dying in battle, and I don't like that, and so I have an imposed rule of if, like, the next time that, oh, Mika has not fought Dottore yet. Either one of them. Why did I grab apples? So if I kill my deer, then I have to build you. So that's the only reason you would build me? Oh, okay. You know, I buff attack speed, right? It's not just my heals. Like, I do more than that. I could really help your Arlecchino out. I'm gonna stop this whole conversation with myself thing, because... Where are these... There. By this point, he doesn't care. He's aware. Speaking of that punishment, it doesn't hit as hard if I never use the character. It's like, all right, next time Yanfei dies, I have to build Mika. Never plays Yanfei.
Ready for trial.
It doesn't hit as hard if she's never on a team. So... Oh, hey, would you like a... would you like... that can go there, and then... Sorry, Granny? To that, can I enhance this? I cannot. Foolish question. There is only those that can be eaten. There is only that which can be eaten, and that which cannot. Or whatever the Shogun says. Don't listen to the Shogun. Desserts. Cavities are no big deal. You can just replace your teeth. Anyways, I don't see how desserts can stand in the way of my vision for eternity, or whatever the hell. Berries on the cliff. That's what I was thinking. I just don't want to climb all the way up there. I'm looping back around so I can climb up. Yeah. Oh, hi!
Letting brave names echo!
They're already dead. I don't know why Shilonen bursted. Oh my frig! Holy crap! Look at how much energy Shilonen already grabbed. I didn't even skill with her. I didn't kill. I didn't skill. I didn't swing. Oh, right. I have Shilonen, don't I? Holy shit, she's hot. So says the squirrel. Right, one as well. This is a good place to, don't mind me throwing up real quick. This is a good place to do it. I remember this particular song. What is this song called? But this, Mondstadt Overworld song was playing at the end of episode 4 when I was thanking all of you for stopping by because of how insane we had grown in 4 videos. Like 100 subs in 4 days. Episode 1 got 2,000 views. I didn't know what to say. Like I talk about that in the face reveal, which will be uploaded either Monday or Tuesday. The lore, the kind of like IRL lore, like my story. What am I doing? The blood of Eremites. Will Oz target this? Oh, he will. No, he won't. Never mind. Thank you, Fischl.
答えなさい。
またか。
答えなさい。
I summon thee, indeed.
別の天柱。
掃除の加護、迷える者よ。行け。月光のように、清風な祝福を、皆に祝福あれ。
Oh right, I took Mika out of now I'm having to wander around again. I took Mika out of party. Now I'm wandering aimlessly for these Valberries again. Is that over there? No, this is a mushroom. Mushrooms are not berries. Friggin' Lanyan has a voice line about mushrooms. What does she say?
Once, I was...
Oh, also this.
Once, I was resting in a tree after finishing some weaving, and a squirrel stole the rattan pine cones I just made. Thankfully, I was able to get them back by trading for double the amount of real pine cones. Honestly, I didn't really care about losing my work. I was more worried about ruining the squirrel's entire day. Just imagine, you spend all day collecting pine cones, only to get home and realize they're fake. All their squirrel friends would probably laugh at them. You can never be too careful when it comes to wild mushrooms.
Lanyan, what the fuck?
Many are completely inedible, and others have to be stir-fried and cooked fully to be safe. And if you don't finish them in one sitting, you have to do the same to the leftovers before consuming them. A lot of people forget that step. So, if you eat a few bites and your dog starts telling you to put away the laundry, or your chickens start ordering you around the house, seek medical attention right away.
Bro, what? What, Lanyan?
Why is there a chest here? I hear everything.
Tainari hears everything. Nahida sees everything. What about the other senses? Where is she? I taste everything! Where's my lanyard? There was another, Nicole says everything. Who touches everything? I'm not gonna make that joke. You've already pulled way too many,
Thanks to my vision. Sit. Friend. Handshake. Oh, no, I wasn't telling you to sit. I was talking to our animal friends. Oh, I'm so sorry. Please, get up.
Which implies that Traveler hears Lanyan say this.
Sit. Friend. Handshake.
And his first reaction is not to look for potentially the animal that she's talking to, but like, oh, she's clearly talking to me. Better get down on all fours and start panting like a dog. Your point being, I could see her talking to Razor. Lady with bird on hair, talk to me in my tongue.
Oh, Lord of Geo, please do us a favor and clear this up at your earliest convenience. I submit that we cannot afford for the codices to get damp.
Flying swallow. Swallow is what do with food. Cannot fly. Lupical does not know where. What am I looking for again? Valberries. What characters of legend would you want to... It doesn't even have to make sense, because I don't think it makes sense in a lot of ways. But what characters would you want from like legend would you want to be playable? For example, I would really like a playable Vanessa. None of these are trick flowers, are they? What was the last nation with trick flowers? Sorry, I just asked a question. Holy shit, can you imagine Nibelung Capitano? Tenoch, if he survived. If I keep avoiding characters, if I keep avoiding enemies with Yenfei, that's cheating.
By royal decree, motion to compel.
Take it easy.
Oh, I missed. There you are, eavesdropper.
Busted.
Bustin' makes me feel good.
How did Yenfei take that much damage? What the fuck? Ajax? As in child? Ajax, Voyager, Koitar in that order. Oh, the Geo Yaksha. Bosacius. Imagine Bosacius quad wielding. The OG Ajax, the one. But I to the point that I forgot that that was even a thing. No, him!
Things are about to get dicey. Gotcha. Time for your raven.
Oh! I timed that burst a little too early. It didn't matter, he still missed, but over here. Okay, I must be getting close to the in fact, she's not that far off, and you get 4 at a time. I bet I already have plenty of Valberries, by the way. Oh, playable ping. That's high up there, yeah. Especially because we know what she looked like. Oh my gosh, yeah. Pfft. How many did I need? 75 to get her to 80, and I got 132. I need Geo Hyposelenias as well. Excuse me. What else does she need? What do you seek? Whatever it is you seek, I do not have it. Ooh, you're on a great sword. It is not time for that. I also am completely resinless as well, so that's also... Gladiator, Marashasi, and oh, Husk. Yeah. True. The default Gladiator set that like Varka and the mannequin use doesn't have a lot of defense, so that wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense to give her. The what? What did I say? They still have a chance to be good. People are complaining about Mooncarver and Mountain Shaper's human design when Ping has 2 human forms. They still have a chance to be good-looking characters. Hunter, oh, is for if she's on Farina team. That is one of her best slots, isn't he? Isn't he? That is one of her best slots. Her best. That is one of. That is one of her best teams, isn't it? Is Noelle, Goro, Yunjin, and Farina. And I gotta be honest, I only know that because of Roffler. Is Farina still Noelle's best in slot support? Huh. Oh, Amara Chessie, yeah. Favonius would be cool to have on her, similar to me giving the slasher to Beto. Look at the tassel. The tassel is standing straight up because of its static and because of the static state of this asset, and then it falls down when it gets exposed to physics. Meow. 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 Guys, look. It folds once it's exposed to physics. Just like my chat. I was gonna say just like me. Yeah, it constantly heals the whole party when she's shielded. I did read through her constellations. When I was telling my wife that last night, when I was like, I'd build my Noelle, I read through her constellations, and I see now why C6 Noelle can be such a monster.
Add Astro.
What can she do? Oh my gosh, LAN party. That was this stream I named that. I already forgot. No L's. That's what my wife named her team.
As you wish.
What? What are you looking at? It's just a squirrel laughing at his own joke. Laughing uproariously at his own dumbass joke. Where's, Ela?
Fretnik, reporting for duty.
Can I...
Allow me to lend you some moonlight.
Who else should be in here? Guwu?
Company, fall in!
Oh, you know what? Goro would be a clutch team member to have for any Noelle team, wouldn't he? Because he buffs defense. And there are very few people who buff defense. Because otherwise I would... And that's the end of the sentence. Because otherwise I would, where is the opera singer? Where is the opera singer? Because otherwise I would do this.
Witness my magnificence.
Which still might be kind of, which still is pretty okay.
I'll light the path ahead.
Bro, his voice is so... Damn!
Will we be gone long?
Why are you on a level 80 sack bow? Does nobody else need that? I guess not, but why is Diona on a 20 when she's higher level than you are? Like, Diona's sitting at level 50, you're at 40. Why do you have a sack bow that is 4 times the level of hers? Sara on a Favonius makes sense. Oh, I have the Squire on Tainari just for drip purposes. Oh my rusts! I also have... Okay. I have 2 R5s And I have the makings for another R4. How have I do think, okay. It's gonna depend on when we can. I have a lot of faith in being able to bring Sandy home. We're on guarantee. We're already above 50 wishes right now. And there's a whole another patch coming out before we change versions. And then very likely version primos as well. Theater needs done as well. And will Theater Abyss and that shit also reset in, like, think of today and the time between today and when the time between today and when exploration primos 2, main quest primos for whatever is happening with, like, why Sandy's being brought back. Think of the space of time between today and the end of Sandrone's banner. High likelihood endgame shit will reset in that space of time as well. Again, like it'll reset again, but by the time before Sandy's banner is done. I will try to grab her weapon as well. You heard it here first. You skirked it here first. Okay, even though it doesn't get... Oh my frigging... You don't need geo damage or crit. I would just stack this with defense, defense, defense. He does not need crit damage, does he? Isn't it just throw his skill down, it scales off his defense, like throw the skill down and move on? Because it doesn't provide, like, damage over time while someone's in it, right? Like, it's not like Dia's skill, where it's applying damage over, not damage over time, but it's applying little splashes of damage while it's there. Skills and no damage outside of initial use. That's what I was, why is it auto-equipping that shit? Let's see, he's on Noblesse. I have to have a, I do not, never mind, I don't. This has a defense in it. And then this is the off piece. You know what? Apparently we tried building him at one point because he is being sorted by defense and ER. So apparently at some point, and even his burst isn't really that important, right? Yeah, his skill does no damage outside of initial use. Who else has a skill that only provides damage on initial use, which is why sacrificial doesn't oh, it's Barbara. Because I was because Barbara has such a high cooldown versus the duration of her skill, but if you put her on sacrificial, she only has the opportunity to trigger the sacrificial's passive when she casts the skill. Because it's not applying damage while you're near enemies, it's just applying them with the Hydro Aura. I completely misunderstood that. I put her on sacrificial once and I wandered around and I was like, why is she never triggering the passive? And you guys are like, well, it's because your only opportunity is to walk up next to an enemy, then skill, and even then you're at a risk of not triggering the passive during her activation. But even that, the activation doesn't apply damage, does it? Or is it when it hits an enemy after damaging an opponent? So Barbara basically cannot trigger the sacrificial passive. Oh, Lohan also would need shit as well. I was gonna see how well... I'm just gonna give people some stuff and then... No, that doesn't make sense. I wanted to use my Nicole. I'll get to building her. I am gonna be decided. I'm gonna build my Noelle. That's what I'm striving for, as we're waiting for Bina to come out. Or, as we're waiting for, Sandy. Don't mind me. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Let's get this show on the road. I knew you'd miss me.
Goro will still do something, even at level 40. With how much defense does he have? Like 100? 270. Are there any defense bows? There aren't, are there? Oh my gosh, another stringless just sitting here as well. I can R5 that stringless. No one's using it, so I clearly don't need a third one because nobody is using my second stringless. Or you know what? Yeah, okay, yeah, it's, yeah. The stringless would make sense on Auroron, just this one looks so good. Favonius, hence the crit rate on Circlet? Like, in order to battery the team, you mean? Or... Oh, my Noelle is only C1. Linnea's signature is the only defense bow. Gotcha. Did I say Nicole? I meant Noelle. For particles. Oh, okay. You know what, Sarah? I think you would be stoked to have a level 80 Sakubo, so you can sit on that. And then you can, there's a level 40. How do I have so many fucking bows? The bow characters I use regularly are Yelan. Because obviously, like Venti, Kale, like you, like I have some, but the one that is used most frequently is Yelan. Nobody else, literally no one else. Let's see. For you, I'll eliminate any obstacle. For you, oh, that I had a. It rolled once on flat attack, but I had a 5-star geo damage with both crits already just saved? Huh. And then a oh my. You know what? I immediately see defense and I'm like, oh, why is it rolled up? That is actually I'm saving that one actually. Huh. It's finale, but... And a defense main stat on this one? Defense percentage and double crit? This one as well? Alright, that might be a really good tide me over, because I honestly don't want to go farming the Husk of Opulent Dreams set in Stygian. I'm trying to farm Sandy's set in Stygian. Because I don't think I'm ever going to take her to... This is probably going to be perfectly fine for overworld shit. Huh. How much defense you got? 2,300, okay. And then I'll auto-equip you as well, and it's gonna give... why is it giving crit dabblage, though? Oh wait, let's actually sort that. There, that'll be a better tide me over. I guess if he's gonna be on Favonius, then I can add crit rate to all of these as well to slide a little crit rate in there. 417. A big thing with Noelle feels like her energy requirements, because Geo doesn't generate a lot of energy to begin with. She's only 60 cost though, but Geo doesn't generate a whole lot of energy to begin with, which I guess is why you would want Goro on, Goro. I never noticed that Goro has his tootsies out. Ow! Let me use it!
I step, as a dutiful maid would.
Hey!
Let my name echo in song.
That was a bit delay on that. For two completely unbuilt characters, one of them being level 40, that was fine. I should not name this team No. I can't think of what to name that team.
Here, let me help you.
Did I say it, Nicole, again? Oh. I actually gave you your own artifacts? It's a 2-piece of Finale and a 2-piece of Morningstar, but I actually gave you your own artifacts? Not that. Well, she has no, she doesn't have any other, she's also not a Hex character either. I was about to say, right?
He's no good for going.
Not that. Wait, don't tell me. I know this. By which I mean I can look it up. She is not. I knew that, clearly.
Say that yesterday as well.
Apparently I built my Lisa to the point of giving her her own artifacts. That's fascinating. I'd completely forgotten. Serpent Spine. That makes sense. If I ever battle passed again, I think I'd probably get another Serpent Spine. There's a reason why I'm not ulting yet. Look at that smirk. Wow, she's on a crazy long cooldown for her held skill, though. This is... Someone told me to look up Nicole's Japanese voice lines. Do we what? Lisa, calm yourself. Is that something we want to do on stream? They asked me to do it on stream as well, and I was like, I don't know if that's something we should do. A 2-piece giving attack and a 2-piece giving EM doesn't really make... She needs a 4-piece of something. No matter what it is, she would want a 4-piece of it. I don't know why that was so funny to me. Enough of just walking up and smacking it once. I'm gonna grab some whiskey. I'm gonna use the bathroom. I'll be back. Nicole's Japanese VA when I return. What, Marceline? Do you think EN is spicier? The request originally was for, oh my gosh, listen to, do you guys hear my wedding ring hit the glass just now? Damn. I'm drinking some Woodford Reserve out of my Glencairn. I think if I also peep my wallpaper. I think if when I start facecam streaming, I don't think I can drink on camera, can I? Because it's plausible deniability because I'm faceless right now. That like, oh no, I was just joking about the whiskey. This is actually water. But if it's actually on camera, I don't think Twitch allows that anymore, do they? Which is probably for the best. Also, how do you pronounce her last name again? Nicole's? Alright. Nicole. Emissario. I wonder when they're gonna rerun her, because I'll definitely try to get her on when she reruns.
Do I sense treasure? Where is it?
Rain. Oh my gosh, Rain? We're beating her all over the place these days, but with more of an E sound than an A. Rain. 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 Okay, okay.
I think not. Begone! Such defiance. Our little secret. I live within you. Heaven's will made mine. I live within you.
Indeed. That's oh my fucking what? It's just a glider, Nicole.
Ooh.
I love that one. That one's so cute. She loves leading people to treasure, and so when we finally get to the treasure, she's like, "Ooh, look at." I mean, I'm composed. I love that one. That one's adorable.
I'm not sure whose work this was, but this one was hidden quite well.
You can hear a little bit of her natural accent, a little bit of the VA's natural accent coming in. Here, I'll let you see. Here, you guys can see. You can hear a little bit of her natural accent coming out on this one.
I'm not sure whose work this was, but this one was hidden quite well.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I also didn't realize that Lauma's VA was English as well. Which one of you said that this would be a good pick for the Phoenix game?
Alice! Barbie! A little help here?
Bonk upon you, sir! Bonk upon thee!
Uh-oh.
Nope.
Rest, for I am with you.
That seems like a very Lauma-esque voice line.
Rest, for I am with you.
What is Lauma's actual voice line that's like that? Ooh, not that. What is Lauma's actual voice line that is like that? Lauma Mama? It's her joining, right?
Follow, even do not be afraid, for I am with you.
Rest, for I am with you. So much for that novel. All possibilities come to a close.
Thanks, everyone. Do I have to play all of these? I'm not playing the heavy hit ones.
I shall be your guide.
I'm also not playing the climbing ones. How about her Japanese voice? That's what was actually requested. By the way, when I ask, have you guys been... Oh, one of you needs to upload it. I can't look it up, guys. One of you needs to upload it. I'm sure the YouTube video already exists. Okay, we're done with that. We did that. We did it. There, you happy? Lisa is quite pleased. She's like, ah, yes. A valiant one to carry the torch. Damn, Kazuha. Oh my gosh, he's dead. What was going on when she recorded those? I mean, what's her name? Bro. Cloud's girlfriend. Cloud Strife's girlfriend. What the fuck is her name? Tifa. Tifa's English VA said that those were always the most awkward always the most awkward days in the recording studio was, okay, damage, being on fire, climbing, effort noises. And she's like, I gave them my full, like, I'm a professional. I gave them my full effort, but damn, were those some awkward days in the studio.
Come a little closer. Come a little closer.
Wow, her by herself still doesn't do a whole hell of a lot, does it? Lisa by herself isn't all that powerful, he says. Switches to physical Kazuha. We've been yapping so much that we've regained 10 resin since we did that Morale line in Inazuma. we just been, it says chill stream on the stream title. Chill stream indeed. Oh! How did we 100% that? What did we do? Because we did stuff up here with the furnaces to get the sword, which I can delete that now. What did we do over here? Because I was at like 89. What quests were we doing over here? Open a chest, presumably, it must have been a bunch of chests, because I was at 89 last time I checked. I don't recall doing quests. The ones I remember doing is that we went up here and we did the furnaces. We had 2 or 3, maybe 2 more furnaces that needed activated, and then we could grab the sword that was down here, or we could touch the sword that was down here. Gave me a free flute. So my Shiloh can have an R2 flute. So that took us to 97. Here, man, what would have eclipsed 11% exploration over here? Have you ever tried the Chaska challenge at the Flare Feather Clan? Oh. Not since we were there initially. Like, I attempted it once and then never went back. Better not go back now! Am I 100% on, oh, I am. I'm 100% on Easy Breezy! There's gotta still be some shit. Readable. Readable? Readable? More like... not finishing that sentence. I know that, like, the intensely, like, fan servicey dialogue of some streamers gets annoying, and I imagine that actually turns a lot of people off to my streams. That's just kind of how my humor goes. So, apologies. I'm not going to change, like, I'm not going to make an effort to change my personality or humor for the sake of grabbing some more views. But I do apologize. I know it's not for everyone. That's just kind of my brand of humor, is questioning. And you see me pull the reins back on you guys a lot. Like, there is a limit to even my unhingedness. I just think it's fun and funny to laugh at the absurdity of some aspects of game design. And acknowledging it like, we're all adults here. We can talk about this stuff without getting weird. We're not 10. What the hell happened over here? I forget. Yes, Phoenix, we know. Phoenix Game 2.0 is just about finished editing, by the way. Oh, readable right here. Becky's order. Word from... This is what I marked. I didn't read this for some reason. Word arrived from Nasha Town today. From Nasha Town, the Curatorium of Secrets has placed an informant on the island, and they're watching us and Radius Bones people. This person registered name at the reception is Ranty. Avoid conflict with him. Wait, this was at the summertime resort. This was prior to Nodcry being released. Huh, I never read this. I never came across this. Reckies and Ranty? What are those? I feel like those names should be familiar to me as well. I feel like I should know what they're talking about. I want to visit Canada. That made me sad just now. I'm a big fisherman and hiker and wildlife, not wildlife photographer, but like landscape photographer. I'd love to do some more wildlife photography. And my buddy and I have always talked about going to Canada, making a trip up to Canada, because it's so close. It's connected to us by land. It's that Midwest American idea of like, oh, it's close. It's only a 6-hour drive. It's only 500 miles away. Which, what is that, 1,100 kilometers? But, he and I always talk about, this guy was my best man, and his brother, made the decision, that they're gonna put down their dog. It's just his quality of life, anyways. He's so weak he can barely stand, and it's at the point of the dignified thing to do is to cut his suffering short. But I remember even just 4 or 5 years ago, that dog who was 11 at the time, was still like, we would go camping with him, and he'd bring his dog along, and that dog at 11 years old still thought he was a puppy. He would try to like climb on logs and jump all around and sprint and then he would immediately, when we got back to camp, like we go fishing up in South Dakota, Black Hills. And he'd be climbing all over and running around. He would sprint over to check on you, sniff you, make sure you're okay. As you're sitting down at the river or at the pond. So you're just sitting down with your pole in the water, just casting, having a good time, and you'd hear him like pad up. He'd sniff you, lick you, make sure you're okay. Move on to the neend. And we would go to ponds that were kind of in the middle of nowhere. That's why he was not leashed. Joe could call him back. Now, no matter how trained your dog is, when you're in like urban settings, please leash your dogs. It doesn't matter how well your dog is controlled. It's just a matter of, I don't know, courtesy. So, but when we were in the middle of nowhere, he'd be let off the leash and you could just run around to his heart's content. And he would just walk up, check on you, then move to the next guy, check on him, sit down. Man, he still thought he was a puppy, and he would just sprint around, try to climb up on boulders and all around, and then once we got back to camp, he would pass out asleep, and he's because he was so comfortable with us, he would sleep with his tummy completely exposed. He looked like he was dead. Like he looked like he just was completely limp, just laying there on his side. When Joe first got him, he waited to train him up, and he was like 8 months into having this dog, and he felt comfortable bringing him camping with him. And so he went camping up in the Black Hills of South Dakota, where they went out to kind of a really remote camping spot, and midway through, Joe got violently ill, like vomiting, and he was like really far away from his truck as well. So he parked at a trailhead or at a place where you could hike in, and basically like kind of backpack to these camping spots where there were like remote fishing ponds and stuff. So he rucked in and got violently ill. So on the ruck back to his truck, he was vomiting, passed out several times, because he was also loaded down with gear, and it was snowing. And every time he passed out, he would wake up, push himself off the ground, and find Griffin, this dog that was still kind of new to him, only like 8 months into owning this dog, or partnering with this dog. Only 8 months into this dog being a part of his family, and he'd pass out, lift his head up when he came to, and Griffin was standing over him, like straddling his torso, growling at the bushes. That's where it's on that trailhead that Joe's gonna scatter his ashes. Sugar white German Shepherd. Like white as pure salt German Shepherd. Built like a truck as well. Sorry, I don't, that just made me think of, I believe I can pull up a picture of him as well. Give me a sec. Maybe I can. I don't think I can without revealing one of my buddies' faces anyway. But beautiful dog. Salt white, not to be confused with Walter White. Not quite. Close, but not. Hello, Weeboo. Thank you for the first time chat. Welcome. Apologies that your first foray into our channel was me talking about one of my buddy's dogs that's about to cross the Rainbow Bridge.
Come with me.
You guys want to read Celestial Gift lore and then call it quits for the day? We did a lot of yap. These are always some of my favorite streams. We're 6 minutes away from some more. I need Mora more than anything. Stygian is about to end its thing. I think I got everything that I needed out of it for the time being. Excuse me. For the time being, 8 hours remaining on that. I could wait and spend some more resin on it. I don't know. I probably in 8 hours will be able to get enough resin to get the bonus artifact again. But I think I'm just gonna put that into Noel materials since I'm building my Noel now. Guys, what do I name that team? Did I put it at the bottom? I put it, it's at the bottom. Maybe not G-O. What did someone say? Wet Rocks? Wet Rock. That makes sense. It's Farina and 3 Geos. Wet rocks, not socks. His laugh, not mine. Let's head to... Oh, you know what? I'll turn back on the Nod Cry music. If we're reading Celestial Gift, let's head back over here to read them. I will turn on the Nod Cry music again. Although this music is lovely. Why am I doing that? We're gonna be in the same game. Okay. I'm gonna just put that on the actual on this playlist. Once again, let me know if music is too loud. Okay, order in this one is flower, sands, goblet, circlet, plume. Okay. Heaven sent fragrance. The high heavens bestowed an everlasting flower on their envoy, and greed was born of a life without end. It was a golden age that has lived on only in the memories of a bygone world, an age when every choice was permitted. The first race to step into the void carried with them a precious innocence, as the newborn peoples of the young universe frittered away their blessings without restraint. Over billions of years, the fires of civilization lit up the endless stars, and ships wove through the countless gates of stars. That is wild. That this is the first, not the first, but this is one of the few hints and references that we get of space travel. Because obviously, Skirk arrived here. How did Skirk arrive here? But Skirk arrived here across the stars, the travelers in their spaceship. The spaceship which perhaps dropped off the Abyss sibling predating Irminsul, and perhaps carries a seed vault that is the last Hail Mary to reseed a doomed species of people. She walked. Over billions of years, the fires of civilization lit up the endless stars, and ships wove through the countless gates of stars. I'm gonna put this on repeat. I want to listen to this again. That is, until the fate of the cosmos was severed thread by thread, and giants and dwarves alike met the same end. At first it was no more than a mass hysteria, or the fading of a dream. Then, in the silence of the night, an entire civilization was erased. Next, extinguished dwarf stars streaked across the firmament like tears, and the embers of burned-out suns warped the very fabric of space, streaked across the firmament. Until the fate of the cosmos was severed, giants and dwarfs alike met the same end, so red giants and white dwarfs, the two end states of stars. Because when a star comes to the end of its life cycle, it swells into a red giant and then shrinks into a white dwarf. The embers of burned out suns warped the very fabric of space. It was only when entire galaxies evaporated into a void deeper than darkness did people finally come to realize the scale of the catastrophe. The descendants of the ancients rose in defiance, and over the millions of years that followed, conquered time and space in turn. Yet the further they pushed into the unknown, the more they understood the futility and sorrow of their struggle. The once glorious civilizations that set out alongside them had long since vanished without a trace. To escape the annihilation that would one day engulf them all, those once passionate pioneers sealed off the pathways that spanned the cosmos. They retreated to giant voids amidst numerous galaxies, to the lightless edges of perception as they clutched the last faint trace of hope. The first people who had mastered leptons? Leptons. Lepton in particle physics. This is from Wikipedia. In particle physics, Wikipedia sourced by Encyclopedia Britannica. In particle physics, a lepton is an elementary particle of half-integer spin that does not undergo strong interactions. Two main classes of interesting particle physics. Huh. Fascinating. Huh. Particle physics being referenced in Genshin. Where was that? The first people who had mastered leptons sent forth chroniclers towards the limits of baryonic matter in the hope of finding answers at the very last particle of existence. That's fascinating. The first people, we're talking about people in the Genshin universe who have mastered particle physics and particle dynamics, or at the very least, the research thereof. I'm going to turn back on the not cry music. As starlight wheeled on, and the beacons upon the star charts went dark one by one, they at last extended their probes to the very end of time. There, all light had vanished, and all possibility was spent. Even the finest motes of dust had drifted apart. There was no turning around, no miracle to be found. At the very end of fate, all that remained was a void of utter chaos and darkness. You know, this reminds me also, extended their approach to the very end of time, all light had vanished and all possibility was spent, even the finest most dust had drifted apart. It reminds me in some way of, what is it, the law in particle physics, that the more accurately you know the inertia of a particle, the less accurately you know its position, and vice versa. Like, they knew the inertia of these motes of dust. By the time they got to where they could observe it, it had shifted its location. There was no turning point, no miracle to be found. At the very end of fate, all that remained was a void of utter chaos and darkness. Every equation they had uncovered, every constant they had defined, now stood in silent proclamation of their end. It was in that moment that their history came to a close. Perhaps this so-called race that had transcended time was, in the end, nothing more than prisoners keeping vigil over a graveyard of stars. Oh man, that's a cool... Damn, that's a hardcore way of putting it. Prisoners keeping vigil over a graveyard of stars. No matter how brilliant a world or civilization may be, it shall, in the end, fall to its destined ruin in despair. And yet, why does the Voyager with a lowercase v, why does the Voyager who wanders the void still dream of a dragon and a fragile little world? After untold millennia of silent contemplation just before the end could catch up with her, the sleeping Voyager finally awakened. Her, Voyager with a lowercase v. And talking... And talking about space travel, particle physics, the end of time and space itself. This is the first of the artifacts! Again, I think it is a reasonable complaint to say that so much of Genshin's world building is hidden behind tell, don't show. I still love it! That doesn't mean that, like, tell, don't show is a crime in writing, and I don't want to give Hoyo a pass for doing that, but damn, their written lore hits so hard. Alright, next is Sans. So Flower Sans, Goblet, Circuit Plume. Next is Sans, Heaven Sent Decree. I'm gonna turn down music just a tiny bit, maybe. The High Heavens, okay, so that one was the High Heavens bestowed an everlasting flower on their envoy, and greed was born of a life without end. Now for Heaven Sent Decree, the High Heavens bestowed a sundial of counter time on their envoy, and an inviolable interdiction became a wellspring of rage. Rage or range? Rage. Let me grab some water real quick. Observe, calculate, record, and inscribe. Every world within the reach of wisdom is being engraved in the eyes of the world. In the eyes of the void, rather. For some reason, the race that claimed to have transcended time continued to carry out an eternal mission among the stars. Despite their knowledge that the darkness, which erases existence itself, was an inevitable end beyond all return, the chroniclers, the descendants of the ancients, remained faithful to their mission, engraving every star into memory. And this Voyager, newly awakened from the void, was but one among those countless chroniclers. Though its light had dimmed greatly from a remembered brilliance, the starry expanse all around still bore witness to existence in its desolation. Yet this was not far beyond the Voyager's expectations, for it aligned almost perfectly with the calculations on the celestial chart. One detail diverged, however, a single point of light absent from the star map, where the image departed slightly from what was foretold. In the memories that she had archived in the library of her distant homeworld, it was a newly born, habitable planet. Huh. Once again, seeming like... A single point of light absent from the star map, where the image departed slightly from what was foretold. Almost kind of seeming like as the Voyager voyages across the cosmos, they're reaching parts that are so far away from where they started, that so many light years have passed, that a new world has been born that was not mapped back when she began, because it's been so long. It's been stated that the siblings have witnessed, stated or implied, that they've witnessed the birth and death of stars, or they've been there for the birth. Now, whether that means that they are actually billions of years, PlayStation wings. Now, whether that means they are actually billions of years old, or some kind of suspended animation where they've been around for that, or they view time, fuck, I love all of this. Or they view time in a much more temporal and slow way that we do, where they can comprehend the growth of mountains and eons and the birth and death of stars. In the memories she had archived in the library of her distant homeworld. Do we know who the Voyager lowercase is, by the way? Because in the flower, it wasn't painfully obvious to me who we're talking about. It's the Voyager. It's the Voyager with a capital V. It's the Voyager. But not the Voyager with a capital V, right? The dragon is Nibelung and the world is Tevat. She visited there, but then she left. In the memory she had archived, let me read through the rest of this. I'm saying mostly to myself before I start going off on a tear. In the memories she had archived in the library of her distant homeworld, it was a newly born habitable planet. But now it lay shrouded behind several impenetrable fields, its primordial flame stripped of the radiance it was meant to bear. She called on memories long consigned to dust, memories of how, once upon a time, she had visited the sovereign who ruled that world. Where had its former master gone, and why had the new descender built the shell that bound all life within? The chronicler's kind abided by ancient laws, one of which was never to interfere with what they observed. That's what Alice told Skirk, isn't it? Observe, don't interfere. However, should those branching paths of time that seem to hold endless possibilities be nothing more than a veil of ignorance leading to a single end, why are we still driven by instinct and nature to explore every path in the labyrinth of fate? Perhaps the time for change had come, or perhaps this was merely the result of curiosity. Her mind reached into the world within the shell. We need not hurry, brother. We have plenty of time, which was Abyss Sibling Lumine telling that to Traveler. Stop me immediately if if my brain is misremembering tons of lore, which it oft does. Please bear with me. Stop me if my brain is starting to go to places that are completely unfounded or palpably like painfully false. Does this depending on which traveler you choose, which sibling you choose, does the pronoun change from her to him? No. Okay, so it's not talking about the Abyss sibling. Okay. Thank you for stopping me on that train of thought. Because that's where I was going. But why not? The Voyager with a lowercase v is what's fucking me up. What things do I need to reread? I'm gonna notate this down real quick. What things do I need to reread to brush up my memory on the Voyager? Please let me know. I'm gonna read them off stream to brush up to reestablish my knowledge. Skirk artifact. Okay, not with the capital because here's you described. Oh, it wasn't her title here. It was simply a descriptor, but it is the Voyager. Okay, that's what was fucking me up. Skirk artifact set. Was there anything else? There was no other. There was no other lore books, like purchasable lore books, were there? Okay, I'll move that over. There on top of that window. Hymns of Far North, okay. Thank you. Were the twin in the same place as the Voyager? It really seems to imply, our conversation on the moon with Bina really seems to imply that the Seed Vault is a last Hail Mary to reseed life from a doomed species. That the Traveler and the Sibling are the last remnants of an extinguished civilization. But in what way? What does that mean? Like, why? How? Where? And in what time? Oh, that's from the outfit, not the Bina conversation. And the ship AI. The ship AI, and then also the, here, I'm gonna put this down as well. The KFC wings also are worth a reread as well. Okay, after Sans is Goblet. Heaven Sent, Reward. Okay, all of these are Heaven Sent. We have Fragrance, Demise, Decree, Reward, and Crown. The high heavens bestowed sweet nectar on their envoy, and the unending feast opened wide the doors to desire. The wind of change was sweeping across the boundless land. Beyond the northern winds, the heavens blazed with stars. Upon the frozen earth stood a city stronger than heaven itself, and where peoples of every nation had gathered as one. Here, they labored for dreams that had faded even before they could be fulfilled. Here, they labored for descendants they would never meet. Here, they labored for promises their creators never kept. They labored for stars that sought to reach in the future. Here they labored for the stars they sought to reach in the future. The progress that was born of wisdom from beyond the world was at this point already outpacing a century of gains with each passing day. The human spirit yearns for all things new, as every young race once did in its innocence. Many a taboo once considered inviolable was now being broken, just as every overreaching desire was being fulfilled. They sought the roots of human evolution so that a new generation might rise with stronger minds and sharper bodies. They traced the headwaters of every tongue, carrying truths once veiled by the sky to every corner of the world. The mysteries once deemed as blasphemous were now spoken of freely to children in their classrooms. The sky never felt so close that they even believed they could challenge it. But this is no fairy tale of inheritance passed from father to son. The judgment of the master that the heavens does not wait for mortal. The judgment of the master of the heavens does not wait for mortals to gather their strength. Given enough time, they might indeed rise to something great, something that could surpass all fate and design. This makes me think, in a weird way, kind of a 90-degree turn, not a 180, but kind of a 90-degree turn. The judgment of the master of the heavens does not wait for the mortals to gather their strength. Why have the shades been so prone to inaction? We do kind of know why, but it's interesting to think about that so many meaningful things have happened, and they've done nothing. One of the most major being the elimination of the Hydro Throne. Now, obviously, there's a lot of other layers to that. Focalor and Farina, Focalor's plot and Farina's long game endurance being able to fool the Heavenly Principles into believing that the contract had been fulfilled. And, but it's so fascinating. Also, knowing what we know about Asmodee. And the hints that we were given in the Temple of Space about her new master. Nothing is stated outright, but the such strong hints. When you layer all of them on top of each other, the God's Limits trailers, everything we know about Renova, everything we know about Venti's lore, and then Temple of Space shit, and you layer all of that on top of each other, and it's more than just like, maybe it's a crack theory. It's implications. You can't call it canon, but damn, is it worth another look. Given enough time, they might indeed give rise to something great, something that could surpass all fate and design. But what of it? This world had never been prepared for them. That is the final verdict. Once the fall towards temptation begins, no matter what path they take, the result is one and the same. Free will invites nothing but uncertainty and calamity. Such is the truth taught by the cold laws of the cosmos. The mortals who stray beyond their bounds must be dealt with, just as wayward branches upon a tree must be pruned. But is this truly the only answer to the ultimate question? Are miracles not termed thus precisely because they defy all reason? Yet for those of a bygone age, the chance to seek that answer was already no more. Damn, bro. The high heavens bestowed sweet nectar on their envoy, and the unending feast opened wide the doors to desire. And then we go to Goblet and Plume last. Heaven sent crown. The high heavens bestowed a splendid crown on their envoy, and arrogance was born out of power unchecked. The faint glow of the three moons was not enough to veil the murderous wind stirred up by the falling stars. Beyond the northern winds in the old capital, rebels from across the land gathered beneath the giant dome. The eldest daughter, once held as the morning star, now sat enthroned in unforgivable sin. She raised the blade that once shattered the shackles placed on the people before the ever-growing ranks of her followers. The herald ascended the high tower, preparing to proclaim her blasphemous words to the heavens. The final war is about to begin, and I already know what it is I seek. I would rather have freedom, hard-won though it shall be, than the comfort of shackles. Either cast them down from their throne in the heavens and bring them before a justice beyond this world, or be consumed by their fickle wrath and perish alongside the eternal fate they have decreed. I believe not in everlasting prosperity. Happiness is not a thing that can be designed. I believe not in the crown of sevenfold radiance, and nor do I bear any hope that its light truly redeems all. I believe not in the songs sung on bended knee, for this world is one that belongs to us. Wings brushed against wings in a dry, whispering hiss. For never since creation had so many angels gathered in one place. As if roused by thunderous war drums, beasts long forgotten by the world caught the scent of blood that tainted the divine. From lightless valleys in the far reaches of the outer seas, the most ancient masters of the earth also came forth to answer the call. From the suffering ordained by fate, we have forged our own peace. Our great work has already long surpassed their grace. A pale star burns beyond the false firmament, and its very existence proclaims our victory. Even in failure, new possibilities will arise, for those yet to come are also watching us. Behold, the stars shine ever so bright tonight. Oh, dude, feed me the lore. Oh, Rebels from across gathering the giant dome. The faint glow of 3 moons was now to veil the murderous wind, stirred up by the falling stars. The eldest daughter, once hailed as the morning star, now sat enthroned in unforgivable sin. The final war is about to begin. I already know what it is I seek. I would rather have freedom, hard won, though it shall be, than the comfort of shackles. I wonder what that looked like. The angels and dragons teaming up. Plume last, heaven sent demise. The high heavens bestowed a feather of rebirth on their envoy, with all sin to be forgiven, where even fate meets its very end. The sky had been set ablaze by the blistering embers, which had also mingled with a rain of blood. Night had turned brighter than day. From the heavens fell a stellar spike that stirred the very stars, its brilliance dimming even the light of the false sun. In the great city upon the frozen earth, the lights burned just as bright, its great council hall lined with banners of every design. The arrows of defiance were ready to fly, their aim fixed upon the heavenly city. Even the newborn Fae were now armed for war. The rebel leaders knew the final hour had come. Rather than cling to life, they chose to face death with equanimity. Yet the highest angel of them all stopped by a little preaching hole in the outskirts, for she wished to speak her final words to the first awakened. What do you see in your eyes? A new hope? Or a fate sealed in death? This may not be the ending we wanted, but for you and me, it is enough. To her detractors, she was the heaven's eldest daughter, who had been led astray by temptation, but those born in chains could never grasp the value of freedom. Those born in chains refused to believe that the exalted envoy would dare betray the divine, just as they dared not face the lies of the sky. Upon the platform stood a body once mortal, and since worn and broken by the toll of the ages. In those starlit eyes, a golden flame flickered and then faded. Her final answer in the end was nothing more than a long silence. Even knowing that, at the end of fate, what awaits this world is a destruction none can escape. I am definitely replaying that song. Even knowing that, at the end of fate, what awaits this world is a destruction none can escape. Like mayflies, they live and die in the span of a day, and still, they fight for a future thousands of years away. Hope still rests with the ordinary people, and among them something greater will one day emerge. But we have bought too little time. Not enough for a miracle to take root in this age. You have lit the first flame, but this was never your war, and you should not have to bear a sin that was never yours. My dear companion, you who woke me from my dream of ignorance, pray, while there is still time, return to the world to which you belong. The nail of judgment cast its shadow upon the earth as the mind of she who walked before the rest lingered in a dream left unfinished upon the desolate land, even if it meant that she would be bound for 10,000 years, and that the snows of the far north would sink into a shadow unknown even to the gods. Oh. False sun. A skyward nail. This may not be the ending we wanted, but for you and me, it is enough. Those born in chains refused to believe that the exalted envoy would dare betray the divine, just as they dared not face the lies of the sky. Upon the platform stood a body once mortal and since worn and broken by the toll of the ages. In those starlit eyes a golden flame flickered and then faded. Her final answer at the end was nothing more than a long silence. Oh my fucking... Just Volume 6 of The Little Witch and the Undying Fire? Do I have that? Have I even read that? Oh, I haven't read that yet. Maybe we can do that. That's not crazy long. Maybe we can do that next time, actually. We can do a refresher, kind of a skim refresher of Celestial Gift, and then hop into that for our next lore reading session. Once again, as we've discussed before, they had all this. They obviously made small changes over the years, but the overarching plot, they had a roadmap for it. Imagine if Genshin didn't work. Imagine if this game failed in 2020. COVID really helped this game kind of ascend to what it would be. Obviously, it would have been popular. I really believe that there's no reality in which Genshin failed. But when everyone was home, locked down, they could dive into games in a way they may not have been able to in a different timeline, you know? Imagine if all of this carefully and lovingly crafted lore and stories and world building and stars, the cosmos, the archons, the gods, the Voyager, Nibelung, the War Funerary Flame, Goddess of Flowers, Simurgh, Ruka, Egeria, everything that, all of the hard-hitting lore that we've come to know, the Abyss Sibling, the Traveler, the Starship, Skirk, the Abyss, the Heavenly Principles, all of that would have been untold stories that would have just rattled around in the developers' brains. And the fact that all of this, obviously, there are very few people who haven't spent at least $1 or so on this game. A Welkin or two, you know? Most people, this is a multi-billion dollar profit game, partially out of predatory marketing tactics and monetization tactics, but regardless, this is a game most people spend money on. But you can go through and experience everything I just talked about for $0 and 0 cents, and I have spent hundreds of dollars over my gaming career for stories that didn't give me half of what this has. And this is not a game without fault. In fact, there are a lot of faults, and some of them are huge, and I complain about them pretty regularly. But from start to finish, from this beach up to walking into Snezhnaya, the respect I've gained for this game and the love for us as a community and a fan base, it is, I really do think, without compare. I won't put it in first place of the games I've played, because there are games that scratch other itches. But this game scratches the itch that it scratches so well. It has a mission, and it sets out to accomplish that mission so well.
This world is full.
This isn't a sit spot, is it? How is this not a sit spot? All right, take back everything I said. Fuck this game. What are we in for next? We still have whatever will cap off the lunar chapters. We still have Snezhnaya. We still have probably Conria. We still have maybe Celestia in the Travail trailer. Whatever what does Dainsleif actually say during that part of it? What does he actually say? Let me go to that trailer real quick. Holy shit. I may have seen a thumbnail of the next Enfield character. We had no time to say goodbye. Everwinter Without Mercy is what they use for Snezhnaya chapter. And then what does he say?
The day of her rebellion against the divine comes at last. In the perpetual meantime...
Because there's a nothing expanse of stars before they tease Act Something, A Dream Yet to Be Dreamed, Conria. Between Snezhnaya and Conria, there is a black void into space, where he says...
In the perpetual meantime of a sheltered eternity, most are content to live and not to dream. But in the hidden corners where the god's gaze does not fall, there are those who dream of dreaming.
Which is very interesting. And also, Nodcry isn't in here. We go from Natlan to Snej. I wonder if Nodcry, if this was gonna be the additional chapter, was gonna be after Snezhnaya, they moved it to, but with the way the story pans out, it wouldn't make any sense to put Nodcry after Snezhnaya, I don't feel like. Unless Nodcry and Snezhnaya underwent heavy rewrites. Because if Nodcry was quote-unquote supposed to be after Snezhnaya, if they changed it for Nodcry to be before Snezhnaya, then both nations would have to undergo heavy rewrites. Which could have happened. I wouldn't think so, that Nodcry's a rewrite. Yeah, it does seem like, because the pipeline for production, the production pipeline for characters, character models, the in-game, the open world, quests, mechanics, mini-games, events, stuff like that, that production pipeline is at least a year out. Like, whatever comes after Snezhnaya, they're currently working on right now, and probably have been since mid-Nodcry. So I don't know, but regardless, that does it for me for today. We have, this is quite the game, everyone. I still think that the only times I've ever crashed out so hard at a video game, other than Sandrone, has been Ciri, Tali, Andor, Garrus, John Marston, Arthur Morgan. It's a very short list. Aerith. It's a short list compared to all the games I've played. And because I want my genuine reactions to begin being on stream, that's why we are, like, I'm saving up. I have no doubt that we can secure a Sandrone. Hard pity or not, I have no doubt that we can secure a Sandrone. I'm gonna go for her weapon as well. It would go amiss if my reactions to such polls and such a story were filtered through a 2D model that can only that can only emote so much. The face reveal, IRL story, IRL lore video will go live either Monday or Tuesday. And I will begin Facecam streaming immediately after. Thanks to everyone for watching. Cannot thank you all enough for what you've given me. So much more than just a distraction from horrible realities. It's so much more than just a hangout. Thanks everyone so much. And thank you all for being an awesome community that I've been able to, privileged to walk this path with you alongside. We ain't even close to done, whether it's Genshin or this as a channel. Thanks again. See you next time. Be good to each other. Love you a lot. Drink water. Thanks again. Bye-bye.